Hi there, it's Doug here. I'm really excited to come to you today and do this YouTube unboxing of the G7th Performance 3 Capo. This is a pre-release version that just came to me today. The other day I got an email from Simon Campling of G7th Capos in England and asked me whether I'd be interested in doing a review of this new capo for them on the Unofficial Martin Guitar Forum. So I've decided, yes, I will. He sent me this, of course I will. But I'm also going to put up my written review on the Gibson Guitar Forum, where I'm quite regular, and on the Acoustic Guitar Forum online, and of course this YouTube. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up, and then I'm going to test it on a number of guitars. I've decided that I'm going to try it out on my Martin 00028 VS. It's a 12 fret fingerstyle guitar and has a very wide neck, and I've had some challenges with capos on that guitar in the past, which I'll talk about when I get to that guitar. Also, I own a Gibson Hummingbird 12 string, which is a beautiful guitar, but it's in the shop right now getting a new nut cut for it. So I'm borrowing a Taylor 356 CE for the 12 string test. It's really important for me that a capo be able to do not only a 6 string but a 12 string. So we're going to put it through its paces on whether it can actually fret all the way up and down the fretboard of a 12 string guitar. It's quite a challenge for a capo. Also, my go-to guitar is a Gibson SJ200 Golden Age, my pride and joy, my 6 string of choice, and it's always had I've always had some issues with getting a capo to fret properly up and down that neck, and I use that guitar a lot. I use that guitar every day. I probably use a capo on it every day as well. So we'll give that a try. To try a really different radius, I'm going to try it on my Fender American Deluxe Stratocaster. It has a 9-inch radius compared to 16-inch of the Martin, for example. So it's quite a bit more rounded. We'll see whether the Performance 3 and the art technology inside that Performance 3 capo can keep up with a much more curved fretboard. And then to go the other extreme, I'm going to try it on my Godin Multiac nylon string guitar and see how well it does on a wide fretboard with nylon strings. So I'm going to go through the guitars one by one and give each one of the guitars a try with the capo, and then I'll come back with a conclusion as well. So I'm going to video playing a couple of tunes, probably the same tunes on every single guitar, and see how the capo performs. First off, let's open this up. It comes in a plastic 2-part case for, I would assume, for retail display purposes. And it's not a blister pack, it's actually a resealable package that has a couple of ears here that you pull on, and you can open it up. And so inside we have a little flyer here called "Hope for Justice. We exist to bring an end to modern slavery by preventing exploitation, rescuing victims, restoring lives, and reforming society." I know you get this in every one of the G7 capos because... Okay, that was interesting. My phone cut out because it was too hot. I got the light shining right on it. But just showing you the Hope for Justice pamphlet. And let's get the capo out of the package here. And there be. Now, it looks almost identical to the Performance 2. Here is a Performance 2. This one's in black. But I thought basically what G7th was doing was taking the art technology that they had put into the Heritage capo and just dropped it into the body of a Performance 2. And otherwise their function would be identical. That's not the case. This is slightly wider and slightly thicker here, and the pads are separate, whereas the Performance 2 is a little bit thinner here, a little bit thinner here, and has one pad that runs all the way through the throat and across the top. They work exactly the same. The cam mechanism, or sorry, the clutch mechanism is exactly the same for both. In one-handed operation, very easy to use. And of course, this one says ART on the side, which is adaptive radius technology. I'm going to insert a video of Nick Campling describing how that works with a large-scale model of his cam system, of how the ART Capo works, because he can explain a lot better than I can.
Hi, this is Nick from G7th with a quick down and dirty explanation of the adaptive radius technology in the Heritage Capo for the Acoustic Guitar Forum, in answer to specific questions. So this is a pair of little cam sliders which fit into the back of the Heritage bar here, and then there's another piece fits over the top with little cam followers. You can see the bumps. Now, if I apply even pressure to this, it'll stay flat. If I put a bit more pressure in the middle, it begins to take up a curve. If I apply a lot of pressure in the middle, it'll go all the way. But basically, it adapts to the radius, and when the pressure's even, it stops and just keeps that form, so that particular radius over the strings, and that's how it works. And this is a little better than our previous system where we were using a silicon gel, because the silicon gel, we had to keep it fairly stiff so that it wouldn't leak, and because of that it wasn't it doesn't move quite as quickly as this does. This it sort of fairly instantly adapts. So there you go.
Just in comparing these two capos, this one is about 10 grams heavier and just slightly bigger. I assume that's to accommodate that ART technology. So I'm going to give this capo a try with a number of different guitars. So without further ado, I'm going to try this on all those guitars in order and try to answer all those questions. And I'll get right back to you. Bye-bye. Okay, so here I am with my Martin 00028 VS. It's a 12-fret slot head guitar, and I'm going to make sure we're in tune as we do this. I'm going to check the tuning as we go up the neck as well. The first thing I wanted to check was to see whether you could store the Performance 3 on the guitar. A lot of people like to store their capos behind the nut, but this guitar has a volute on the back of the neck. It prevented my Heritage capo from being stored behind the nut, and it does the same thing here. It's and yeah, you can probably put it like that. Yeah, actually that works. I'm losing my strap here. Flipping the guitar around. Yeah, that works. Make sure I don't lose my guitar. So it's a bit awkward, a bit weird on the angle, and I worry that this metal part of the capo is actually running into the wood when I do that. When you use the capo, this little pad here in the throat protects the edge of the fretboard, and of course the pad goes across the top of the strings, and this has protected the back of the neck. But when I do that, it's going to run into the wood right there. So I'm still clamp it on the headstock just like that. Yeah, it's not coming loose, so not bad. and it comes off with a simple tug. Again, one-handed operation. You just squeeze the capo with the trigger to open it up, like that, and then just put it on the fret that you want, and give it as much tension as you feel it needs with a squeeze. And I hardly squeezed it at all, and it's fretting all of those notes. You see that this is a fairly wide fret nut in this guitar. 1 3/4, I think, might be a little bit larger than 1 3/4. I'll have to check, but it's certainly wide, and there's a little bit of the capo still overhanging. The pad is right up against the fretboard edge right here, and there's no part, that capo metal part, that's touching the guitar, and it seems to play well. Very nice tone. Give it a slight squeeze and it comes loose. Another squeeze and I'm in fret 3. And we go up to 5. These are some of the more normal positions for me using this guitar. This is just the mic from my Nikon camera, so don't expect too much fidelity out of the audio on this. And you can angle it in any way you want, but you notice some of my capos, my index finger runs into the capo, and I have to angle it at a really weird angle. But this has got such low profile here that I'm getting clearance, and so any of my first position chords are not in the way here. Not too bad. Let's check tuning. I was in tune and open. Let's see how we've done. It sounds okay. Just slightly flat. Just a bit. That's a tune. Completely in tune. Bang on. Completely bang on at 7. Seems to be working fairly nicely on my Martin. Let's give it a try on my Gibson next. Okay, so here I am back with my Gibson J200, my SJ200 Golden Age, and I'm going to sort of move this along, otherwise this video is going to be an hour long. I talked a lot about the capo itself and how to use it when I was talking about the Martin. But here I've got it on the, just behind the nut, stored, just a small clamp, easy to take with you, easy to use in a gig situation. Just clamp behind the headstock like that, or you can clamp it on the headstock. But let's give it a try. I'm going to put it at capo 2. All the strings very nicely. Let's try some picking. Very nicely. It was in tune as I started. I'm now at fret 3. And we're bang on. Yeah, pretty good. So fret 5. 7. Live here to 9. Now we start using the head tune. Not very much. Yep, just pulling it out just a bit. Good. Now I'm going to try it on my Strat, and we'll see how it handles the strings of a very radiused fretboard. Okay, here I am with my Strat. This has a 9-inch radius fretboard. I should also mention that the art technology is good for guitars that have different radius up and down the fretboard. That's compound radius, so that it starts out at one radius and ends up at the upper part of the fretboard at a different radius. If you have a capo that is the proper radius down here, it's not going to be the proper radius up here, whereas the adaptive radius technology adapts all the way up and down the neck to compensate for that. So here, I'm not going to electrify this. I'm just going to check its playability, and one slight squeeze. This has got very, very low action. I just clamped it on just very lightly, and it's required a little bit of retuning. Let's see if we can find it a little later. Anyway, that seems to work nicely. I'm going to try it on my Godin nylon string guitar. Very flat fretboard. We'll see how that works with nylon strings. Okay, here I am back with my Godin Multiac nylon string guitar. This has a very flat radius on it. It's not absolutely flat like a classical, but I'm just trying to, it's 16-inch radius on this guitar. I've got the capo stored on the headstock, just like that. Check on tuning as we go. The guitar is in tune right now, so let's see what we can do with it. A little bit of pressure. I'm learning to put the capo on very lightly and then checking whether it frets. And then if any one string doesn't fret, just giving it a little bit more pressure. So I have the absolute minimum tension on those strings necessary to fret the notes. Still, it's wide enough to get all the way across this very wide fretboard, which is great. That adapter radius went right from the 9-inch radius on the Strat to the 15-inch radius on this Godin. Okay, so the last test, this last guitar, is going to be the one that's going to tell me something. And we'll go from there. 12-string next. I'm going to give this a good squeeze because I know what's going to happen. Okay, the upper courses, fine. A little bit thuddy down here. Again, to be fair, they never said this capo would fret a 12-string. I just wanted to give it a try, just to show you what the Heritage can do. I'm not comparing these two other than the fact that the Heritage does fret a 12-string perfectly, with just the right amount. So, my speculation is that G7th might come out with a 12-string compensated pad for the Performance 3. So, that's my 5 guitars. I'm going to come back at you with my summary about the questions I've asked about every one of these guitars and how the capo performed on each one of them, and my overall impressions. Using my criteria, my evaluation criteria for this capo. And we'll do a summary. Okay, summary. Now, I asked questions at the very beginning. Was it easy to use? Is it affordable? Does it work well? Is it attractive? Well, let's answer these questions. First of all, ease of use. I wanted to know if it was easy to put on and put off. I think it is probably one of the easiest capos ever And I've thought that since version 1. And what's this, 10, 12 years ago, something like that? I got one of the very first. And this one was fairly heavy, I thought, and sat on the guitar. You could feel the weight on it, and that was one of the reasons I didn't like it so much. Plus, it had a big footprint. Fast forward 15 years or so, and you've got one that is slim, is light, is easy to use, has the same clutch technology that Nick invented so many years ago. In my written review, I'm going to put a little bit of a description of how that was developed, which I think is a bit of engineering genius. So we've got that bit of engineering know-how in there, and now this adaptive radius technology. One-hand operation, put as much pressure on the guitar as you want. It stores behind the headstock, behind the nut, on the headstock, very, very comfortably. On all my guitars, with the exception of my Martin with the volute, and that goes on the headstock without a problem. So the other thing of comfort is whether I can fret with the capo in place. And with this low profile here, my index finger knuckle is going right over it and not even feeling it. So yes, it's comfortable, it's easy to use. Is it affordable? Well, it's $54.95 US, which is their introductory price. And it's expensive as far as capos go. If you only have one guitar and you don't gig with it, you don't need to store it on the guitar while you're playing, I would go with a Shub. They're fairly inexpensive. They're like 25 bucks or something like that. Or the Newport, which is a fairly inexpensive G7th, which has some tension control on it as well. And it is very, very thin, very, very inobtrusive, very light, and is a relatively inexpensive capo. It also comes with a 12-string compensated pad on it, so you can use it on a 12-string. I have not tried that, but it is available. So there's two inexpensive possibilities if you only have one guitar. If you have multiple guitars like I do, then this becomes quite a good investment because it replaces all the different capos you have to use individually on your guitars. If you like having one capo per guitar, that's fine. But this will work on all your guitars, save the 12-string. And again, as I mentioned earlier, I'm hoping that they come up with the 12-string compensated art pad for the Performance 3. That would be terrific. So it's value for money. The other thing about this is the G7th warranty is like second to none. It's a lifetime warranty, and I know I had an issue with my first Newport. The spring tension it lost all of its springiness and didn't clamp anymore. And I swear I was answered within 24 hours, and I had a new one in my hands within 48 hours. That's how amazing their customer service, personal service, and their warranty fidelity is. So if you're thinking about long term, will this be durable? I think it's well engineered. My G7th Performance capo is now 12, 14 years old, something like that, and it is just fine. And I've not used it as much as my other capos, but it seems to stand the test of time. The website at G7th also has parts available. So the pad here can be replaced on the Newport. You can get new pads for the Heritage, and you can get replacement pads, this part and this part here, for your Performance 2. There's nothing there for Performance 3 yet, but again, it's a new product, and I expect those parts will be easily replaceable. So it's a capo for life, as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, value for money. You're paying $54.95, and it works on all your guitars, all your different radius, and it's got a lifetime warranty, and so you don't have to worry about it. Does it work well? Well, I think I proved in the video demonstration of all of my different guitars, save the 12 string. It works up and down the fretboard, doesn't detune the strings in any great amount, very, very minor adjustments. And it has good protection on it for your guitar. No metal parts come in contact with the guitar, so it's not going to damage my guitar. It maintains the tone of your guitar as well. I found the tone wasn't dampened at all, especially on my Martin, where I fingerstyle and I listen to the tone very carefully. So this worked very, very nicely. And my last question was, is it attractive? I think this is a very attractive capo and has been since its inception. The brushed aluminum look of it, it's space age looking, very cool, and you can get it in black and in gold if you're into such things. I got a black one with the P2 just to be a little bit different, and it's a nice capo and hasn't shown any signs of that coating, that wear, showing any kinds of wear. So overall, how would I rate this capo? Well, if I'm giving stars, I would have to say 5 out of 5, just for all of its features being so excellent, and its innovative feature, especially of the art technology, being so revolutionary. I don't know of any other capo that does this. It is patented, so if some other technology comes along that tries to do that, they would have to do it in a different fashion. But that's my review of this capo. Thank you again to Simon Campling at G7th Capos for sending me this beautiful capo and allowing me to do this pre-release review. I've enjoyed the last couple of days of playing around with this capo, and look forward to your responses on the internet. Take care. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.